What's going on? My name is Josh, here for Victims and Villains. Today we're going to be talking about the Blu-ray release of Aporia. So this movie tells the story of Judy Greer, a widow who has lost her husband and comes to find out that family friends invented a time machine and, well, they use it and butterfly effects gotta start to happen. I feel like you have these landmark moments in the genre, like Back to the Future. Then you have these kind of darker edges, like the butterfly effect, and then you have like these more like really emotionally impactful films like Aporia. First off, let me just start off by saying this movie is way, way sadder than I thought it was going to be. Like, I've seen movies that deal with similar subject matters, and I've never been hit quite as emotionally hard or invested into characters as I was with this movie. And I think that just comes from the brilliant direction and writing of Jared Moshe, who's the film's writer-director. And the emotion of this story is the driving force, and it's not like you can just kind of pinpoint to one character and say that this is the heart of it, but I'm going to do that anyways. So Payman Maadi plays the inventor of the time machine, and he is like legitimately the driving force behind this, all of the emotions of the film, I would say. He basically invents this time machine in order to go back and reverse a own moment in his history, and never really kind of decided to like actually use the time machine until Judy Greer's character loses her husband. And it's just this continuous just spider web of just new realities that each decision is kind of embarking on. And with every new reality these characters find themselves in, it's the performances of its core cast that really elevate the emotional core of this film. Judy Greer absolutely dynamite in this movie. One of the best parts in this movie, hands down. She just brings a really charming yet just compelling, powerfully compelling performance to this movie. Edi Gathegi, and if I mispronounce that name, I'm super sorry. I'm terrible with names. He plays her husband in this movie, and the two of them just have impeccable chemistry. Then when you throw Maadi into the mix, you have this core cast of characters that just have great chemistry together, but also at the same time there is a emotional elevation of this simple concept that we've seen 100 times before, but it's because of these characters, it's because of Moshe's script and direction that this movie is able to land as emotionally compelling and as hard-hitting as it does. This film is paced immaculately. There's never one moment of this story that ever feels like it drags or has a part that goes on too long or goes too quickly. Like, the emotional beats, I keep coming back to that. The emotional beats really allow every decision to kind of just reverberate, and it's a sonic beauty, this thing. This is probably one of the best sci-fi films of the year and will probably, without a doubt, go down as one of this year's hidden gems. So let's run this through the Rorschach rating scale, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and give Aporia a 4 out of 5. I think this movie is absolutely beautifully done. One of the best sci-fi films of the year. One of the hidden gems of this year. Performances across the board are exceptional. Pacing is remarkable, and overall, just this movie has such a heavy heart, and I love that. I love the fact that you're able to feel the things that these characters are feeling, and I feel like it's not every day that you get to experience a film like that, and I think that just is a world of just praise for the film's writer-director, Jared Moshe. Let's talk about mental health. If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moment is where we'll take a theme out of the movie which we're talking about, deconstruct it for a few moments in the hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. I've said it a lot of times across many different platforms, whether it's a film review, whether it's a podcast, but grief is one of these things that has this almost superpower over us to just bring us to some really strange places, but also at the same time can also bring us to really dark places. I think the exploration within the first act of this film, as we're introduced to Greer as a widow and kind of the emotional fallout that she's feeling, and ultimately the dark decision that launches this entire film, really proves the point that grief is a thing that it is not a one size fits all type of thing, but also at the same time that it can yield some pretty dark results if it's not healthily dealt with. Sometimes they can be doing something creative and kind of just working your way through it, like we see Payman Maadi's character do in this movie. And sometimes it can be something as simple as writing a poem, a short story, creating music, creating content, gaming, watching movies. That list just kind of goes on and on. Sometimes it looks to just going to therapy head on, or chasing after and getting placed on medication while you're working your way through your grief. Sometimes it looks like picking up a new hobby, but there are so many different outlets, and there are so many different healthy ways of kind of exploring and jumping into your grief. And not just that, sometimes it's just about being still and just working your way through it. So this is just a healthy reminder to be healthy while you're grieving, because grief can take us to pretty dark places. So if you or someone you know is currently struggling with mental health, depression, suicide, addiction, self-harm, or any anxiety of anything I've mentioned in this video, please click the link in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. Aporia hits Blu-ray, DVD, and digital from Wellgo Entertainment this upcoming Tuesday, September 12th, wherever you guys get your movies from. In the show notes below, you guys will find links to our podcast, more movie reviews like this one, links to our social media, Patreon, and again, most importantly, our mental health resource library. So hit that subscribe button, and that way you guys never miss a beat. Have a good night and stay classy.